how would you address concerns from buyers or sellers about the interest rates and whether they should buy now or wait if prices are going to decrease? How to make sure buyers or encourage them to make a decision, buy homes now, not to wait it out,
Sure.
and get sellers to act. So the script for that would be helpful.
Okay, so I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of tidbits. Hold on, I need to go plug in my computer because it came out of the wall. 1 second, and then I'll share that with you. Okay, but now you guys are going on to my computer audio. So I apologize. You guys probably just saw a notice of volume quality. So I'm going to give you guys a tidbit of what I'm going to be talking about today in the market share. And I'm going to be adjusting things, but this is a talk track that's been far coming. This is for those of you that have been summoned through my trainings before today. You'll notice that I've been talking about this for some time. So number one, what do I think that you should do with your sphere of influence? Number one, these numbers typically don't mean anything to the consumer. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what this goes to, what a 0.75% interest rate looks like or what that means to them. And it's your job to let the consumer know, let your SOI know what these mean. They're looking to you. No different if there's something that happened like legally or financially or tax-wise. If there's something that came out and you don't necessarily know what's going on, you're going to talk to the professional in your life and share that narrative. So I encourage you, whichever way you believe what's going to happen, control the narrative and share that with your people, because that's the value that's coming on. I always say that real estate, the value of the real estate professional increases as the market gets worse. The reason why is because when somebody's equity is jeopardized, now they're always looking for people who they know, like, and trust and who are competent. But now the more severe the situation is, the more competent that they want in their agent. So that's that. Number two is that I just saw this video yesterday, literally yesterday, and it was a top real estate agent that he went in and said that he talked about this person went through and looked at the history of recessions. And in the history of recessions, what they saw is that the prices went up. And my initial thought on that is, just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it happens to the future, right? The past doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes, but it doesn't repeat itself. The difference between the last recessions and the one that we're probably already in my opinion, is the fact that we didn't have a $30 trillion debt. We didn't have $9 trillion of quantitative easing. We didn't have near zero interest rates. So the Fed has some flexibility. The reason why the Fed, in my opinion, has to increase interest rates in a crazy environment like this is because they have to, because their actions have been always about easing in a situation like this, not tightening in a situation like this. But there's one of two ways to look at this. And this is going to be a benefit to you when it comes to the sellers. And for some of you, you guys have heard my talk track on this. There's one of two things that could happen. Number one is that somebody's right and that the prices are going to continue to go up. That's a possibility. There's some really smart people on one side of the aisle, although I'm starting to hear the narrative change. There's some really smart people saying that prices are going to continue to go up. But there's also some very equally smart people that are saying, you know what? This is going to get gnarly and you better buckle up. Now, I encourage you to let people know that one of them are going to be wrong because it's impossible for them to both be right. So it's more about posing a question. What would happen if the market shifts, home prices don't start going up, and we start seeing downward pressure on prices? Look, we're seeing downward pressures on jobs, income, and wages. We're seeing downward pressure on affordability. We're seeing rising costs in everything else, including mortgages, which is going to stifle demand. Is it not reasonable to consider that prices are going to have to adjust? Because we know that right now, with where interest rates are at right now, in order to be at pre-COVID payments, prices have to go down by about 32%. So on $1 million property, Someone who was looking at $1 million to have the same payment of what it was a year ago, you've got to go down to 700. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if it meant chasing the market down, would you consider selling now? Or do you want to wait? Do you want to take that gamble to wait and see what happens? And let them choose. One of the things I talk about is our job is not just to convince them to say yes. Our job is to provide service to them and value to them and information to them so they can make a decision what they feel is best for them and their family. And sometimes that's going to be no, and that's okay. Sometimes you just have to let people get kicked in the teeth and let them feel a little bit of pain before they come back to you. But you have to be there to be that person that's willing to work with them.